Right, hello and welcome to Prenton Park, the home of Tranmere Rovers since 1912. As you can see, it's our 140th anniversary, which is why we've got these colours on. So just take us through to the timeline and we'll get started on the tour once we've just done a quick run through. Very conscious of your time because you've been sat down on a bus for a while, I've heard, so we'll get you moving as soon as we can. Club founded in 1884 as Belmont FC. You'll see little nods to that all around the ground, mainly these colours. We inspired Roma's colours. As you might see, it's a bit faint, but the shape of the crest and the colours, same as Roma's. They stole our colours, but we never mind. A year later, we changed our name to Tranmere Rovers and have been playing under that guise ever since. You'll see, maybe when we walk through the boardroom, that there's references to the club being founded in 1885, because that's the year we were Tranmere Rovers, but it was a year earlier that we actually started playing football. We moved to Prenton Park in 1912, but since 1887, football's been played on this land. It was initially called Ravenshaw Fields, and then was later renamed as Prenton Park. Dixie Dean. Does anyone know Dixie Dean? Yeah, very famous Everton player in the early 1900s, obviously a long time ago, but he's important because he holds a lot of goal-scoring records in the UK, and you'll see that Erling Haaland is chasing down a lot of his records nowadays. So whether he gets them or not so sure, but famous here because he came through our academy, later moved to Everton and became the legend that he's known as at Everton. Okay. Bit of sort of middle period here. There's not much to speak of. It's all before a lot of people's times. Record attendances, most goals scored in a single game. Important to note that in the late 80s, we went through a bit of financial difficulty, saved by Peter Johnson, who appointed our greatest manager, Johnny King, who's the statue you'll have seen outside the ground. That's our only statue for our greatest manager ever. On the 90s and early 2000s were our greatest period. That's where most people will have heard of us from cup runs, our biggest trophy ever, which you'll see when we go through to the trophy room, the Leyland Daft Cup, and famous players such as John Aldridge, Pat Nevin, and so on that played for us in the late 90s. Our biggest achievement, probably reaching the League Cup final, our only major cup final appearance, made it in 2000 to take on Leicester City, narrowly losing 2-1. Perhaps our most famous win was when we beat Everton 3-0 at Goodison Park in the FA Cup. Of course, with Goodison Park getting knocked down at the end of the season, we'll never play them there ever again, so we've got a little bit of a one-up on Everton there, that we've got a record against them. And we're all happy about that. Sort of, again, a little bit of a middling period where we played in League One consistently for a long time before eventually falling into non-league the first time ever. We won't dwell on that because we later got promoted back to League One a couple of seasons later. Our department founded in 2016 with Matt and Dan. I joined a year ago, so these guys have been at it for a lot longer than me, but I'm glad to be part of the team now. Okay. As mentioned, our back-to-back promotion saw us get back to League One, which is where we fell from initially into non-league. And then we went on another couple of great cup runs, hosted Tottenham here and Man United here. We won't speak of the scores, you can research them yourselves. But we lost, but it was a great occasion. And as a club, we made a lot of money from it. And it's a great occasion to always fill the stadium against Premier League teams. In 2020, following the COVID lockdown, we were demoted back to League Two on a points per game system. So a supercomputer figured out the average points per game till the end of the season, and it was figured out that we would be relegated by less than 0.5 of a point. And we've been sat in League Two ever since. Of course, I don't know if any of you have been keeping tabs on us recently, but our manager was sacked about 7 or 8 games ago, and since then we've been one of the most informed teams in the league, and have got ourselves out of a relegation battle and up and away with about 5 games left to play, so we should be safe. Which obviously we're all happy about. That deserves a round of applause. Okay, so what we'll do now is, if you just follow me, we'll go through to the trophy cabinet and we'll do a little, if you just keep an eye out as you walk through, you'll see some of the legends and some famous moments dotted around the corridors. So it's something to look out for.
So it's a 16,500 seater capacity, on match day limited to about 15,000 because of sponsorships, and also some of the seats behind the disabled sections aren't sold due to visibility issues. Our Biggest stand over there is what we call our Cop. Does anyone know any other teams that have a stand called the Cop in their stadium? Liverpool, correct. Does anyone know any others? No. Wrexham unfortunately have one, yeah. So Wrexham have got a Cop, Liverpool, Sheffield Wednesday have a Cop as well. So the term Cop comes from a battle in South Africa called the Battle of Cup Miners. So someone came back from that battle, and it was basically a battle on a massive hill, and he was stood at the bottom of the hill, saw all the soldiers at the top of the hill, and when he was back in England, saw a stand which looked very similar to that recreation of that picture. So that's why the Cup Miners Cop, and that's where the term comes from. So that's where our most vocal supporters are, the troublemakers, as I like to call them. A lot of them play in my under-14s team, so that's a lot of fun. The stand opposite is the Johnny King stand, so that is who Luke mentioned previously. So Johnny King, one of our all-time great managers, and that is the family section. The cow sheds is the away stand. To Ray, so your t-shirt, your shirt's just there. Luke, pull that. So the cow sheds is the away stand, so that's where the away supporters will be on a match day. The away stand holds about 2,500. In our division in League 2, teams such as Bradford City, Crewe Alexandra, Notts County, they'll fill the whole stand. Teams like Wrexham, Bolton, Stockport, our big rivals, they'll also bring the whole lot, and then when we play against Premier League teams too. Where we are right now, the main stand, so the directors, main sponsors and chairman will sit in these nice comfy seats. The red seats are actually from Anfield. So part of the redevelopment of Anfield, they were wooden red seats, but we've basically upgraded to plastic red seats. And it's great because we do a lot of work in China and Indonesia, and red's very lucky in China. So we always bring the Chinese coaches and players and sit them in the red seats, and it means that they're going to give us luck. And then they hate us because if we lose a game, then they say it doesn't work and we've just insulted their culture. But we like to think that it tries and helps us. And then in the corner, you've got the top floor of that is a media suite. So that is an area where supporters can hire it out. It's another suite with its own private bar. And then below that is where the police will watch the game from, and they'll look at any troublemakers. Below there, you can't see it right now, but in the corner, there's actually a police holding cell. So when any troublemakers are arrested in the stadium, they don't get taken straight away to the police station. They'll get left in the holding cell until the ground's quiet, and then they'll get taken away. The pitch itself, so our pitch has about 35 games on it a season, and that incorporates league fixtures, cup games and pre-season games. It used to have 55 because Liverpool women used to play here as well, but they've recently changed location to somewhere the other side of the water, and the main reason was because the seats here are blue and they want the seats to be red because they're Liverpool, which makes sense, so from an optics point of view. But the pitch that they play on now is 10 times worse than the pitch we've got here. This is a Deso pitch, so it's 95% grass and it's 5% artificial material woven in and stitched in. We agreed to install this pitch just before the day before England went into lockdown. So because we did it the day before, we were allowed to continue construction on our pitch all the way through lockdown. If we'd agreed it during lockdown, we wouldn't have been able to do it until lockdown had finished. Our pitch collapsed just before COVID, so we played Manchester United here, and it was effectively a beach or a mud bath, and Harry Maguire still scored from 40 yards, and it cost £800,000 to install. So we were very, very fortunate, and the company that installed it are based not too far away from here. They also installed the pitch at Old Trafford, Etihad Stadium and Wembley as well. So we've got one of the best pitches that you will find outside of the Premier Division, so we're very, very lucky. Any questions about any of that?
Lounge, which is one of our premium hospitality lounges on a match day. Where you just were is the other one, so this is the most premium, and then the silver lounge used to call it down the far end. This is also doubles as our trophy cabinet with are two major honours that are in recent memory that you'll see here. So this is the Leyland Daft Cup, as I mentioned, the EFL trophy. It's gone under lots of name changes over the years, but this is our biggest honour, won under that team there, led by Johnny King. And if you can see just a little bit up, the guy with the sort of moppy hairdo, that's our current chairman, Mark Palios. He wouldn't like me pointing him out on there, but that's him from when he was playing days. And then our other major honour here recently, the Sky Bet League 2 playoff final trophy. We won that following our back-to-back promotions, beating Newport County at Wembley. The season before that, we won the National League playoff trophy. The trophy isn't in here, but we did win it, beating Boreham Wood in a very dramatic way, probably our most dramatic win ever. After 13 seconds, our left back, Liam Ridehouse, was sent off, so we played virtually the whole game with 10 men and still won 2-1. It's a very, very famous double promotion. In terms of other things to look out for, little relics that you get from over the years. So being such an old club, we tend to get lots of gifts from other old clubs. So you'll see little plates and trophies and nods to our cup successes. That's from Liverpool. We played them in 2016. You'll learn a bit more about that story later on. Paintings and so on, all little things you get in the trophy cabinet.
Home on Saturday. If we had a home game, then you'd start to see some signs, like some tactics start to get drip fed onto the wall, some stuff up on the tactics board. But basically, this is where the players will start to arrive on a match day. If we have a 3 o'clock kickoff, they'll arrive at 1:30. Once they start arriving, this will become a bit of a nutrition station. So at 1:30, what do we think might be on the table when the players arrive? Bananas, good. So a little bit of fruit, drinks. So your waters, your slow release type stuff, hydrolyte, hydration, all of that kind of stuff. Some flapjacks, some like slower release stuff as well at 1:30. Okay, so the players, they've had their pre-match meal 2 hours before the game, 3 hours before the game, even if they've done it right. So midday, and then we just start to give them a little bit of nutrition. You'll see around the place. There's little reminders for players because they tend to forget. Goes in one ear and out the other, and they forget what the right things to eat and stuff. So little reminders all the time. They will typically go out to warm up at about 45 before kickoff, so about 5 past 2, 10 past 2, something like that. This will get turned around, and when they come back in, it's your more quick release stuff. So what might be on the table when they come back in after the warm up? Come on. Lollies, is that what you call them? Yeah, so sweets, like your slow release, your sugary stuff. So we're building them up, caffeine, that kind of stuff. So we're really ramping it up for a 3 o'clock kickoff. They're right in front of the fans. They're ready to go and rock and roll, okay? Managerial, typically, obviously tactical stuff up on the board here. As I mentioned before, all the set piece stuff is up. So you can't fail to get it right, is the way that we try to leave it for them on a match day. Okay. This is the home changing room. As you can feel, it's quite tight, but it's not bad in terms of where we are in the league structure. Somebody like Wrexham, perhaps, might have a bit more grander, a bit more to go. Certainly Liverpool, Manchester United, Man City, they'll have a whole... Their changing room is probably bigger than our stadium, but that's for another day. But be grateful for where you're sitting right now, because on our way out to the pitch, I'm not going to take you in there, but just pop your head in the away changing rooms. Okay? Now, the away changing rooms, believe it or not, have been revamped quite recently because we got told off from the league. The league said they're not at the level. And we do a lot of work with teams from Indonesia. So Matt and I brought an Indonesian group in, showed them the home changing room. They were delighted. Showed them the away changing room. They are absolutely horrified. Because in Indonesian culture, it would be the other way around. Like, they welcome you and put the away team in the better changing room, and the home team would take the other one. We were like, I'm having none of that. Like, Wrexham, so Tottenham, when we played them in the FA Cup, Harry Kane, Heung-min Son, Man United, all of them, they can go in that changing room all day. So just pop your head in on the way out. I'll take you out to the pitch now. We'll have a little look at the pitch. Unfortunately, it's a million. It's freezing in the so, yeah.
coaching back then.
He's coached from